Hi, my name is Jesse Durham, and I teach people how to live and leave a lasting legacy. Hello and welcome to this Getting Started presentation. So this is just going to be a reminder of some things that you've already learned along the way, some practical next steps to implement, and some suggestions on continuing your education. So first and foremost, let me say congratulations. You know, when a policy goes active, whether it's your first policy or whether it's a subsequent policy as you build a system over your lifetime, it always makes me think of a quote from James Nethery where he says, "It's all conversation until someone writes a check." So you've begun this journey of vetting and researching and now implementing the infinite banking concept as conceived in R. Nelson Nash's book, Becoming Your Own Banker. So I want to congratulate you on privatizing your family banking for yourself. Now remember, this is a reminder, this is a lifestyle. It's not a set it and forget it, arrow in the quiver, another tool in your tool belt. This is the foundation. It is for me in my household. This is the foundation for our financial paradigm. So it is something that we just live out, being our own bankers. So this is an admonishment, a reminder, an encouragement to not having a set it and forget it mindset about this, but to be active in being your own banker. It's a lifestyle. Also as a reminder, because I hope that this is going to be a video that you will be able to reference, whether I text this to you or you get this in an email, I want you to remember the principles, because these are going to come up in our continued conversations over the years as you implement this concept. The principles from Nash of thinking long range. So we're always going to be speaking in that context. We have goals that we want to hit over the next 12 months with this brand new policy that you've started. Sure, but we want to be thinking long range. Don't be afraid to capitalize is the second. So we'll talk about some pragmatic steps here in a second about dump ins and paying extra premium, etc. But don't be afraid to capitalize. Be an honest banker yourself. When you take a loan against your policy, you need to have a plan on, and that could be appropriate for you, but having a plan on not stealing the peas, building that capital back into your system plus interest, etc. The fourth is not doing business with banks. I'm leaving that to you. Some clients are going to continue to do some conventional financing, use banks' money. Again, I believe that if you control and profit over the banking function in your life, that I'm just here to encourage you to be your own banker. But Nelson said don't do business with banks outside of checking and savings, again, and then rethink your thinking. I'm going to have some pragmatic pointers here in just a second as well, where I'm going to encourage you towards continuing your education. And then one that was added later in years, just verbally from Nelson, was to prepare for windfalls. And that's more relevant as you talk about creating a family banking system that spans from generation to generation to generation. I mean, I know folks personally who have a banking system that spans 4 generations in their family right now. It's an amazing thing. So just reminding you of those principles. Also, a reminder on the human problems. Again, these are going to be talking points in our conversations moving forward as we touch base over the years. Remembering Willie Sutton's law, that people want to steal our money legally or illegally. Folks are going to try and separate us from our money. The more you implement this infinite banking concept, the more you're going to notice that. Parkinson's law, okay, that we tend to spend all that we earn. It could be a natural tendency to make a policy loan and not have a plan for repaying that. So I'm just giving you some examples, but we're going to speak in this context when we talk with each other. Parkinson's law. Okay, we all must confront this, the tendency to spend all that we earn. The golden rule, he who has the gold makes the rules. It's great to be well capitalized. Again, I know that you're on your way, so I'm congratulating you and just reminding you of these principles, these problems, so that we can continue to level up your infinite banking game. Then we get to the arrival syndrome. Again, I'm going to give you some pragmatic pointers here in a moment where I believe we will fend off that arrival syndrome, that feeling of, oh, well, I know it all, or I've got a policy now, and that's it. I've hit the peak, I've hit the summit, the zenith. And then the other is use it or lose it. Again, this is not a set it and forget it mentality. The idea here is to control, to actually manipulate, to work over the banking function in your life so that you can profit. So there are the principles from Nash. There's a quick reminder on the problems that we will continue to face moving forward. In 3 simple rules that I heard when I first began infinite banking, I'm going to give you the process. So remember to pay yourself first, pay yourself with interest, and recapture the money. Those 3 rules really helped me out in my first few years. Pay yourself first, pay yourself with interest, and recapture the money. So there's the process. Principles, problems, and the process. There you go. Okay, let's talk about some real pragmatic steps that you are going to want to take. 1, if you have a dump in scheduled for your policy, depending on the contract, depending on the company, keep an eye on that, of course, so that you can use that if you had an immediate anticipation of using that, watching that process through. And to that point, you will be able to create a login. So you'll be able to create a login where you can view policy information online. If you have any questions about that, reach out to me, but give it a few business days on all these things. Once you've signed the final documents, you'll be getting this message. Once you sign the final documents, it may take a few business days for the insurance company to take money out of the account that you've designated for paying the premiums. So don't worry if that takes some time. If there's an issue, I will let you know. We'll take care of that. Otherwise, give it a few business days. Likewise, for creating your login, give that a few business days. You might not be able to do that right away. It might take a few business days for things to be able to process where you can create your login. Same thing on the dump in. If you have a dump in, an initial one-time extra payment scheduled, that may take some business days to process. Otherwise, it may be the case too that you don't have a scheduled dump in, but you know that you want to begin immediately paying some extra premiums. That's great. There are always 2 ways, of course, to go about things. And as always, reach out to me. But here's what I do. I actively call the company up myself when I want to make an extra premium payment, when I want to make a policy loan. I'm a call guy, so I will typically call. But of course, there's the online login where you can be making extra premium payments, where you could be making your policy loans. So create that login for yourself. Now, when it comes to your policy has been funded, you've created your login, here's a message just real quick too, because this happens. Life happens, folks. There are always obstacles and opportunities that present themselves unanticipated, right? So I've had it be where a lady just recently, for example, signed her policy on her son, got that active. Next thing I know, I'm getting a message saying that she and her whole department are being laid off. So thank goodness we got that going, and she had been putting capital for the whole first year actually into that policy, which is great because there's some capital to be able to get to if need be. But again, just to say that sometimes we are surprised by things in life. And again, I think that's all the more reason to be proactively building up capital where it's safe and secure and we can get to it for those needs and purposes. So if something changes in your financial world, again, that's a reason why we have our ongoing conversations and strategy calls over the year. I like touching base with clients at least once a year. With some folks, we're texting once a month. I'd like to touch base with some once a quarter because that works for them twice a year. So at minimum, and we should already have something in the books. If we don't, let's get in touch. We should already have something in the books for at least once a year for us to touch base on where you're at in your process, how you're using your policies, an opportunity for me to share best practices, you to answer questions. And on that point, I have a big ask right here. So my ask here for you is, you've been exposed to this idea, you've been learning about this idea, you went through an application process, you got qualified for the policy, accepted the policy, paid a premium. I would love to hear, were there any sticking points along the process? Was there anything that you think that I can improve, that we can build on, that we can get dialed in? Please reach out to me directly, privately about that so that we could do better always in all these processes. So that's a big ask from me to you, how we can improve. Any sticking points, I would really appreciate that. A second request that I have is one of two things. If you would please be willing to either come on the podcast, give an interview, it's a conversation. If you've seen our other client or professional interviews, it's just a conversation that I've recorded for the benefit of others. That was not something that I had a lot of access to. I just happened to personally know some folks when I was introduced to infinite banking that had been doing it, but recorded conversations of their experience, whether they were employed or they had their own business or whatever it was that they were doing in life. And we have those. And if you're willing to do that, please reach out to me. Let me know. I will be asking you that. And if not a conversation, if you would be willing to text me, to email me, just a paragraph, just a few lines on something that stuck out to you, some big takeaway for you, something that was impactful for you in either getting started or along your journey of implementing infinite banking that you think would be helpful to someone else, please send me that so that I could share that with folks and encourage folks. I would really appreciate that. Now, for education, I'm going to encourage you along the same things that I have done over the better part of a decade now and that I continue to do. So first and foremost, stay in the book. I typically reread Becoming Your Own Banker at least once a year. So I'm going to encourage you. I'm telling you, I get to this book and I still find some new level of understanding. The words haven't changed, but I find some new level of understanding because I've been implementing infinite banking in my real life. And I return to this manual and I get to level up my game. Nash also wrote a second book called Building Your Warehouse of Wealth. Highly encourage it. There's another that he helped with Carlos Lara and Bob Murphy to write. It's called How Privatized Banking Really Works. Of course, Nelson has a plethora of suggested readings in the back of Becoming Your Own Banker. Furthermore, if you've not yet seen the This Is Nelson documentary, it's on YouTube. I highly encourage you to watch that video where you can hear from Nash, who's already graduated now. You can hear from Nash directly in that documentary video. Highly encourage you to get to know Nash better that way. There's also his NNI, so the Nelson Nash Institute. You can go to infinitebanking.org. There are a lot of videos there, resources there as well. And then, of course, we've been podcasting and YouTubing for years now. I cover series on Q&A, myths, mysteries, and misconceptions around whole life insurance and infinite banking. I cover famous financial quotes. I give my quick takes on certain financial aspects that have connections with infinite banking. I've given my life lessons series where I'm out there sharing best practices on how we've used our infinite banking system for things to do with real estate or recurring expenses, lifestyle, legacy, all kinds of things. I would encourage you to check these different series out on our YouTube channel. And here's another ask, of course, while providing these years worth, we have over 500 to date. We have over 500 videos on our YouTube channel. I would encourage you, if you're getting value out of something particular like that, comment there. Let me know what that takeaway is. Let me know what that light bulb moment is. Send me a text message. I would love to hear that information. Share that content with folks that you want to see win with money, of course. Leave a 5-star review if you would. That would mean a lot to me, letting me know that you're getting value out of the education that I'm constantly putting out on the subject. Along the way, you're going to find folks that you want to see win as well. The greatest compliment, the greatest impact that I receive in sharing this work myself is when folks send a friend, a coworker, their mother, a neighbor, someone that goes to their church to me, or sends the presentation video to them. That's my biggest ask for sure, is you obviously realize what it is that you want to do in controlling and profiting from the banking function in your life. You're going to want to see others do that as well. I would take it as a great honor when you share this presentation video on this concept, my introductory presentation, to other people. I would really appreciate that. And feel free to share my contact information as well. If they've seen the video, I'm more than happy to have a conversation with them about what it could look like for them to get started. So again, let me say congratulations on actually getting started. I'm your biggest fan. I'm your biggest encourager for teaching your family how to live and leave a lasting legacy. You beginning this life of being your own banker. Congratulations. And then for the last time, we should already have our next strategy call scheduled 3 months from now, next year on your anniversary date, whatever the case may be. But if for whatever reason we haven't done that yet, make sure to get in my calendar, please. And again, this has been a great pleasure for me. I look forward to our next conversation. Be busy about the business of living and leaving a lasting legacy. My name is Jesse Durham. You can find me at durhamtalents.com. Have a great day. Take care.